Make sure everything looks good here. We good. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Own the Chaos. My name is Brad. That is Fat Man Zoom. The stock market's crazy and chaotic. We made it our mission to help you guys own it, and it is a great day for me. Hopefully, it is for you guys too. We got lots to discuss: Apple, Tesla, and of course the Chaos Confessions. So make sure they're going in the chat. Lots of people liking it. We got some good ones already. But Fat Man Zoom, what's up, my man?
What's going on? Starting five for today is Savvy Money Show, Baker Twoon, Arnie Vaneker, Zane Khan, and Jeff Panika. You are our starting five.
What's up, brother?
Not much, man. Just checking out. I haven't even looked at my account. I do know that everything was green in the Fat Man Zoom, which was nice. I actually am just slightly green.
Tesla treating everybody
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I can't say that necessarily surprises me, but yeah, Tesla continues to do Tesla things. And it should be exciting going into their earnings on Wednesday.
Yeah, man. I mean, right now, if you guys aren't looking at Tesla right now, it is up nearly $30 a share. It was as high as around $8.75. Right now, it's currently up 3.5%. So it's a little bit higher than that earlier in the day, but it is continuing to rock and roll. And really interesting because we've talked about this a little bit. We talked about it last night in particular, but also all throughout last week, maybe the last couple of weeks, of just the organization of Tesla. We take a look at the chart, and the ascending channel here is in full blown breakout mode. It's out of that channel and continuing to rise from here. So really good stuff there as far as Tesla's concerned.
Yeah, I don't even know when I originally asked the question, but I remember it was probably, I don't know, man. Was it the beginning of the channel? Was it, their sentiment was not strong with it, but it's when I essentially had just loaded up on Tesla.
Yeah.
And fortunately, I mean, we don't always get these calls right, but fortunately, it has just been a steady move. And, you know, you talked about how this is the most organized that it's looked. You know, I hate to say it, but it feels different. They are doing a lot of things right. And, you know, Tesla was beaten down for some time, but the reality is it's still best in the game. They should have the best earnings they've ever had. Their delivery numbers are the best they've ever been. I mean, I don't know what else you could say to be bullish about it. I mean, you could try to find things to beat it down, but the reality is nobody's even close to Tesla.
I know. It's pretty amazing. And I mean, we're about $29, right? $29 from all-time highs.
Yeah, it was $900 and like 30 cents.
Yeah.
Or something crazy.
Let me just reconfirm. So, yeah, I mean, this thing is just, we're so close to it. We've talked about $1,000 being a reality on our bold predictions of the end of last year for 2021. So, yeah, $900.40 was the all-time high here. We're getting pretty close to that area. And, man, I wouldn't be surprised to see it hit that before earnings on Wednesday after hours.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a 3% move, less than a 3% move. So that's a very, very doable number for them. And, you know, if you break 52-week highs, there's more potential to run from that.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's been it had been sort of beaten down since those 900s. You know, we called the $1,000 by the end of the year. It's probably it's been my highest conviction for that. So obviously we'll see. We'll see what happens after earnings. I mean, that's going to be the big question. Certainly could be some profit taking, but it is just on a monster roll, and I'm enjoying every minute of it. So we'll see.
Me too. I mean, I talked about this a little bit last night. I think that there's definitely some hesitancy for me, for anybody who is looking to either capitalize through earnings, because I do think that there's a lot of risk here going into earnings, especially if they come in on anything that could be the slightest bit disappointing. You could see pretty decent size sell off and fall back into that channel.
Yeah, I mean, I would not want to get into Tesla right now if I wasn't already in it. I still think that they can continue to roll, and I think that, I mean, the $1,000 is easily in play. But the volatility of it, we know that Tesla will give us opportunities again. But man, this run has been really nice. And I mean, it's one of those situations where obviously now it's near its all-time highs, and it's easy to be confident in Tesla now. It was not easy to be confident in Tesla when it was at 550 or 600, and it seemed like nothing could get this thing moving. However, if there are any catalysts that come, this could spell going off. But I just don't want to. I don't want to just paint the picture of, hey, we're good, we're in sort of clear skies, because earnings, like we always say, are a coin flip, and especially for something running so hot into earnings, I wouldn't be surprised to see if it go back into the channel. That actually wouldn't be discouraging. Now, if it fell below that, then it would be quite worrisome. But the moves on this thing, can continue to be exciting.
Yeah, I want to actually. There's a really great question here. So, what Cardinal Weed says, the RSI indicates that it's overbought. So, would that not indicate a sell-off? And it's very interesting that you bring it up, because indicators are just that. They're indicators. They're not necessarily you have to buy here or have to sell here. Is there a high risk getting involved in something with the RSI that's very overheated? Yes, I would agree. But here's the other thing too to consider. We take a look at something. Look at the chart here, and specifically on Tesla. So we kind of look at where RSI was around the same, around 80 points on RSI back in November of last year. So almost a year ago. And that was when it was sitting at 550. In the months coming, all the way up to January, it almost doubled to 900. So while you can make the argument that, yes, it's overbought, and I would agree with you that there's definitely some of those tendencies where it's running really hot and there's a lot of risk running here, it doesn't always mean that the run is over and that it's time to get out.
I like that. That's a good example. I wanted to just, I mean, we talked about it a little bit yesterday as far as Tesla's concerned.
Yeah.
Where would you consider, this is sort of a two-part question. Jeff Panika asks, what is a good stop loss for protection? So I presume that Jeff Panika is in the green. What would be a good stop loss? And then what would be a good entry if somebody was interested in getting into Tesla? Like, where would you get in?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I think that it depends on your own risk tolerance as far as where you want to put a stop loss in. And my Weeble is acting up, so give me 1 second while I put this in. But I would imagine at least putting a stop loss in at the top of that ascending channel, which I believe is around 824. Now, obviously, that's a ways off of 870, so it definitely depends on your risk tolerance. Are you willing to let it breathe a little bit? Now, we've talked about this. Tesla can go all over the place. I mean, today it just moved $30, and it didn't even think about it. I mean, there's not a whole lot of volume on Tesla today, and it still moved $30. So there's definitely that element to it. This is driving me crazy. You can at least take a look at the ascending channel where I'm talking about here. So this 824 or 844 area, I'm sorry, it will be that area that I would certainly keep an eye on. But really, it just depends on where you want to take profits on. The other thing is too, is like if you're way green on this and you just kind of want to take some profits, I did this. I just took a partial amount. So today I did it on OIH. OIH made a decent run towards resistance at $230 a share. Now you can make the argument right now that resistance for Tesla is probably going to be at that $900 mark. So what I ended up doing in the situation with OIH is that I actually trimmed 25% of my full blown position because it started to take up a monstrous amount of my account. Took out 25% of that position at that 230 mark, right around there, and then lo and behold, it actually ended up getting rejected there. So you could do that. You can take a partial amount at Tesla, maybe around that 900 if it does get rejected. That way, you at least take some profit, and you still have skin in the game in case it does pop off. That's a good way, at least in my opinion, to manage risk and still, like I said, be in it in case it ends up running without you. So taking profits never hurt anybody. We always talk about that. Really kind of comes down to what your risk tolerance is and what your plans are for Tesla.
Yeah, I mean, it may feel like a lot, but 824 is only 5% off where it is. So I think that would be a comfortable spot where it would give it some freedom.
Yeah.
I would be, as long as it stays really above 810, I feel confident. Like if it stays in the 800s, I'd feel bullish on it continuing to move forward towards the end of the year. We talked about delivery numbers and the production delivery numbers going into next year.
Yeah.
We will get those towards the end of the year. Or beginning of next year, January, where we'll get, I think they do it actually in December now that I think about it. They give the numbers out for the following year, which that should be 1.2 million. That's just what I'm going to keep saying, 1.2 million, easily a million. So it'll be there's no doubt in my mind that it'll be the first million-year delivery.
Yeah.
1.2, if it's anything above that, that would be awesome. But I think it's safe to say that should be the number. We should come in this year, 850, 900,000 deliveries would be hella bullish. But one thing we've learned is just the way their operations are. Not only does it help from a margins perspective, which gives them a competitive advantage against all their other competitors, but it's showing in the supply chain, and it's less reliant. I mean, you think about how many parts typically go into cars and EVs as well. There's a lot. And so the more you can do it in-house actually benefits you during these times. So there's less reliance on as many things potentially hanging up your supply chain. Obviously, raw materials are still going to be likely outsourced. However, it just decreases the likelihood of that happening. So I think for that's why we're kind of seeing it's not hitting Tesla as hard as we would expect it to hit.
Yeah.
And they've even been setting us up to like, basically they've got to pitch a perfect game going into the end of the year. I think they're in a good position. Excited about sort of what the picture they paint to close out the year. Hopefully they give us an updated sort of outlook as far as deliveries, but then going into next year.
Yep. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Just checking through the chat really quick. We see Tesla running through earnings or before earnings. I mean, we talked about a run into earnings, which is absolutely happening right now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hate a little bit of a dip beforehand, but I just don't see how it stops. I think this makes all-time highs into earnings. I mean, that seems more likely, unless there's a macro factor with the government or whatnot. I think it does. The scenario, if I'm not hitting, is hopefully, if I'm not in it, would be a sell-off after earnings, profit taking, and then infrastructure news that could be a potential catalyst for companies like Tesla. The one thing to consider for Tesla, though, which has been, I think, a little bit understated, are the tax credits. And there's good content out on the EV tax credits and like the way they cap sort of the amount that each company has and how it actually hurts competition, which I agree with. Listen, if you're using all your EV tax credits, that means that your product is theoretically perceived better or superior. And so you want to encourage that. You don't want to encourage like lower cost EVs or poorly produced EVs. Not saying that they are because they still have tax credits, but the reality is the product is just better.
Yeah.
And I think, I hope that the administration actually lifts that cap on tax credits, because that does bode well for Tesla, obviously, but it bodes well for all EVs because it encourages the competitors to step their game up. Whereas the way it's structured now, it actually doesn't do that, Brad.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But Tesla is certainly one that is a fan favorite and one that we will be live for on Wednesday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time, guys. Monday through Thursday, we go live 3:30 p.m. Eastern time, and we're going to be giving our earnings reaction. I'm hype about that. But another stock that had a news today, and we expected it, was Apple. You want to talk a little bit about Apple stock and the event they had going on today?
Yeah, so Apple had their event today, and the stock has actually been performing pretty well. Nothing too crazy. It's only up about 1.1%, but nevertheless, we're getting to a crucial area that I think could end up resulting in a potential breakout. There's a lot of tailwinds coming for Apple. Maybe this is something that potentially kickstarted it. We talked about it yesterday. I didn't think really the event was going to be that crazy. They ended up announcing that they were going to have their new generation of AirPods. that are water resistant. So that got people excited, I guess. And we take a look at the stock right now, and it's sitting at right around 146.56. Now, Chaos Crew exclusive. We talked about this and put this on the watch list for our Chaos Crew folks. That 138 was going to be a support for this after its correction. And sure enough, it came right down to that area. It's bounced back beautifully and is making a really nice run back to that 150 area. So if you guys are interested in that, make sure you're hitting the join button next to subscribe, become a channel member, and help support the channel, as well as getting all kinds of other goodies, access to our Discord group, trade alerts, all that good stuff. If you're interested in what I'm investing in, I'll give you guys a shot of my portfolio as well periodically. So really good stuff there. Make sure you're checking out the Chaos Crew by hitting the join button below. But taking a look at the chart here on Apple, and it is approaching a 50-day moving average. If we can close above that around 147 and some change, I think that Apple does have the momentum behind it. And we've talked about this. Apple's been one of those ones that's underperformed the market. It typically does not do that. Average rates of return around 28 to 30% per year. It is trading at around 8% up on the year, which is still underperforming the market significantly. So I think it has all the momentum behind it. We obviously have the holiday season, all that good stuff. So I'm liking Apple here, man.
Yeah, I think the market's up 18, almost 19% on the year.
Yeah.
It certainly needs to play catch up, and I bet it will. I actually am running the wheel strategy for Apple, so I have leaps in Apple for 2023 or something like that, January 2023. And so then I just sell calls. So I have the calls I sold are at 150. So it's going to be close, and it's for expiring for next Friday. So I'm a little bit nervous because I feel like we might be above 150, but I'll be happy. I'll be nice and green, and I'll just rinse and repeat for the wheel strategy as well. So no big deal. But no, it's I was really happy with the event today. And then, you mentioned maybe not surprise anybody, but the reality is that Apple does have to catch up. So it doesn't need to necessarily surprise anybody. We weren't entirely sure if AirPods would come out, so maybe that's a little bit of a surprise. A remodel on the AirPods, more looking like previous model, magnetic charging. All the upgrades are good. Listen, their wearables are a huge opportunity. But they announced the AirPods. They announced 14, 16-inch MacBook Pros. They announced HomePod Mini. And also, I believe a desktop they announced. And they promoted their M1 processor, Pro Max, which are fast as all get out. So all that stuff is great. Obviously, looking at creators, looking at gamers. But listen, they're going to continue to do what they do. And the MacBook Pro has been a great comeback story because it had been stagnant for so long. And then obviously COVID kicked that back into gear.
Yeah.
And it's a perfect timing. So, you got to really admire how they're building their company in this event. While maybe it's nothing new, it just shows that people are going to continue to upgrade. There's continued opportunity in their wearables, their watch, their AirPods, whatnot. So couple that with the iPhone, the future continues to be bright for Apple.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely good stuff from there. My calls are doing really well too. I have 140 straight calls that don't expire until December. I got November ones that are at 150 as well, which I'm super pumped about because I think that we're really close to that, getting up over that hump too. So I'm super pumped about my Apple position as a whole. I think those 140 calls are going to be really good by the time we get closer to December.
I agree. I have a random question for you.
Yeah.
So, Apple is the most valuable company in the world.
Yes. It goes back and forth between Apple and Microsoft. Yeah.
Is it Microsoft? I thought Saudi Arabia had the number 2 or something.
No, I think Microsoft at one point, I don't know where Microsoft is right now. I think we talked about it a week or two ago.
Yeah.
It was 2.2 trillion, I want to say.
Do you think that, or I guess you probably already giving this answer, but next year, this time, who's number 1?
Oof. Next year, who's number 1?
Oh, you're right. Microsoft is number 1 right now.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So Microsoft has a $2.3 trillion market cap, and no, I'm sorry. Apple's still number 1, 2.42.
Okay. So
just 100 billion away.
No big deal.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do you think Microsoft is the one that eventually unseats Apple for good? Not like going back and forth.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Who do you think it is?
I think that it's going to take a while. Maybe it doesn't happen next year, but I think Google
Yeah, I agree.
makes a run at Apple.
Yeah. So you would say Google before Amazon?
Yeah, I think
I would agree.
I think so. As crazy as that sounds, and as crazy as the valuation is for Google, I still think it's undervalued.
What do you think the difference maker is for Google?
It's just obviously there's so many things that Google is involved in, but I think it still really comes down to the advertising spend on that side of things. They've already made strides to kind of make it exclusive to Google. No more third party business going on, and so if they continue to make that exclusive, then I think that actually only adds to Google's valuation. I think it only adds value to the company. There's all kinds of other stuff they have going on. Obviously, they're the first and second largest search engines in the world, Google being one, YouTube being the second one. So I think that there's so many things that investors still haven't taken into account here with Google that at some point they're gonna catch up and really kind of see Google for what it is.
Well, yeah, and the other thing is Google will likely, or Waymo will likely be the first Robo taxi.
Yeah.
Like everybody talks about Tesla for the Robo taxi, but Google's ahead.
Right.
And so that could be a whole new opportunity that garners excitement as well. But it's certainly underrated. And I definitely agree with you on that one. Obviously, Amazon, Microsoft, they're all in the running, but Google seems to just have all the pieces in place to be able to overtake quietly too. They're like a quiet juggernaut.
They really are.
I want to talk to you about Affirm.
What the hell is going on with Affirm?
Somebody asked earlier.
It's insane.
About
it's absolutely insane. By the way, we got through a couple of things we wanted to talk about. The chaos confessions are still on the way, so keep them coming, guys. I see a couple of you guys putting them in there.
Yeah. So Claudia said Affirm is an uptrend bull market, baby. Yeah, I mean it's rolling, and it likely will continue to roll just off momentum. Boogaloo Brown confesses, and we're not going to get into chaos confessions yet, but it has to do with Affirm. I confess that I don't understand why Affirm is high as this Amazon's doing. And don't forget the Target partnership after Amazon as well.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so that can't be understated. I have another question, but let's just start with Affirm. And, are you worried about I don't even know when this thing stops.
I don't either. Look, I'm out of it completely. It was a great trade. I made a shit ton of money on it. Percentage wise, it was over 100%. And so I'm really happy with it. The valuation here, the market cap's at 43 billion. That's pretty insane. And I'm not saying that Affirm isn't deserving of this, but this is getting pretty crazy right now. The only thing that I think takes Affirm higher here could potentially be
new partnerships,
an acquisition.
Okay.
If they get acquired, somebody buys them out. I think, maybe new partnerships as well. But I mean, I don't know how you can get any bigger than Amazon at this point. You have Amazon, Shopify, Walmart, all the big boys are playing with you now. So I don't know, man. I just, it seems crazy. And I was expecting a move out of Affirm. I just don't know if I was expecting this kind of move. And congrats to those of you guys who had the balls to stay into this, since we talked about it at $60 a share. But man, it just seems absolutely wild now.
I mean, it's a perfect candidate for trailing stop, because
yes,
when it comes down, when the profit taking happens, and it will, it's going to be, I would imagine, a pretty big fall.
Yeah.
We're bullish on the company. Buy now, pay later. It's our favorite one.
I love it, man.
All that stuff. I mean, we've been bullish on it, but it almost feels like Asana as well, where it's like this thing just keeps running, keeps moving.
It's getting way ahead of itself, I think.
But here's why I'm bringing it up, because I think I know the next Affirm.
Oh,
Affirm-like move. And I wanted to get your thoughts on this.
Okay.
You have no idea what's coming.
Gamma 3. Here we go.
So I think the next stock that could potentially be ready for an Affirm type move is Big C.
What?
Big C.
What? Okay. Now I really got to hear it, because I feel like you're tripping.
So we know that, I mean, you look at Affirm, and all it takes is partnerships, and obviously the big dogs partnership.
Yeah.
It's a tenth the size of Affirm right now. We know e-commerce space is going to continue to grow. It's been beaten down. It's actually it was very similarly beaten down with Affirm. And I know that because it was two stocks I was watching at the same time that were in the downtrend. And so all it needs is one little catalyst, I think, to potentially have a move. But given e-commerce, given what they offer, if you understand what they offer, you look at the Shopifys of the world, you look at the Amazons of the world, and I love what they do. And I don't think the market yet has figured out exactly how important they're going to be in the e-commerce ecosystem. Now they need, listen, nobody could have predicted Affirm's partnership with Amazon. And yes, Amazon and Target are the reasons why it took that up. So Big C would need big news, something similar to that. I'm not going to say it's going to have that move just out of nowhere. It needs news, but they have been hard at work. They've actually been working on partnerships and that type of thing. So if they can land sort of a golden egg, I think it could have that move as well and break out of its downtrend.
All right. I don't know about that, but if that happens, I mean, that would be epic if that takes place.
Yeah. I mean, it's got a $4 billion market cap, which isn't crazy, isn't wild. I mean, you're talking about Affirm's at like 44 billion right now. But hey, is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
I got you.
Feels similar to Netflix. People didn't know about Netflix. Feels the same as Tesla.
I'm not down you. I'm not down you. I don't know.
So watch out for Big C. It doesn't get a lot of chatter, but it also, these are the type of stocks as well that could be a part of the meme stock movement as well, which I would love that. But you got to get a catalyst. You have to be there. But that little green candle on the left, that huge spike, we're going for that one.
This one right here, where it was up at what, $160 a share. 162 was the previous all-time high for Big C, and it's been pretty abysmal ever since. So hopefully it comes back to those glory days.
I mean, you got to believe in what they do, and that's why it feels similar to me. Is like what they do is so necessary, and that's the thing. Is like it's not competing with Amazon. It's actually not competing in a small way. You could say it's competing with Shopify, but not really. It's something different. Who they're targeting is something different, but the service is similar. And so from a revenue perspective, they could see some massive growth. I'm excited for next year for Big C. I think for me, $100 a share would be my price target for Big C by the end of next year, which I think is a very conservative estimate, as long as they can continue to move towards profitability.
Yeah, man. Good stuff. There you have it. Bold prediction.
That's what we do, man. We talk about things before everybody gets a hold of them.
Yeah.
Croc's talking about it. We talked about Affirm, and it's easy to talk about Affirm now.
Yeah.
But when we were talking about Affirm, that was not a popular pick, and there was not that. It was the same thing.
Yeah.
Where it was like, what? No chance.
Yeah.
No chance. I even remember when Affirm went up off of the Square acquisition of Afterpay, and people are like, what? I don't get it. And that was a 3% move. It's been, I don't even know, up 150% since then.
Yeah, 200%. Yeah, almost 200%. So yeah, crazy move out of that. Congrats again, anybody again who's still in Affirm. Since we talked about it at 60, I made my entry at $61. That was my average share price, and made a hell of a trade on that. Felt really good. But man, this thing just keeps. It's up 7% today, just today. So just wild.
Yeah, I mean, classic momentum, and everybody's kind of loading into it. I wonder what the institutional holdings are on Affirm.
I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question.
All right. As we get close to the bell, you can close out the market, and then if you want to take it over to Chaos Confessions.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and just check it out right now. As we're coming into the close here, S&P's up just slightly, 0.34%, which is good for 15 points. Dow's actually been down all day, but just slightly too. It's really nothing burger for Dow, so not really much movement out of that. 0.1%, 36 points. Nasdaq's the big winner. It's up almost 1%, 0.87%, 129 points. And crude oil came in, also still killing it. It was up over 83. It was 83.50 this morning. Fat Man Zoom oil was per barrel. Did settle back down to around 82.44, but still green on the day on that one as well. And that's why I ended up taking some profit on OIH. That took up 37% of my account, going all the way up to $230 a share. So I was like, I gotta take something here. So felt good to take some profits on that. Still have quite a bit of it. But yeah, man, oil's still rocking and rolling.
What are you up today? I missed that.
I am up. It's a great question. Percentage wise, I'm up 2.5%.
Oh, good.
So pretty decent day, which has been better than recently. At least I'm ending the day green, because last 2 or 3 weeks I've been up 4% and then end up either flat or red on the day. So it's been pretty frustrating, but today is a good day for sure.
Yeah, I mean 2.5%. You're looking at S&P, which isn't even up 0.5%, and the Qs, which are up 1%. So
yeah,
that certainly looks good.
Great day.
All right, you got it.
All right, so moment you've all been waiting for. We got the Chaos Confessions right now. So, guys, we started this segment last Monday. Fat Man Zoom was out of the office, and I was like, "Hey, listen, let's try something new." Chaos Confessions. I ended up confessing to you guys last week that I sold Penn, but then came back around and said, "Hey, well, I got some leaps instead. I got some options. Give myself the same amount of leverage without putting in more, more capital." So obviously gave you guys a little bit of a mini heart attack, but you guys really seem to like it. And I said, hey, let's just do something. Let's confess whatever it is that we did over the weekend. Everybody gets into some crazy ass shenanigans. And I have to tell you, Ivan Broski put one up. This is my favorite one so far. Chaos Confession. I own Shiba Inu and 3X'd it. 3X my money on there. Sold $700 worth to buy a new Xbox to give me something to do and not text my ex while listening to Drake and eating Boston cream donuts like Brad. Thanks, Ivan Broski, for that one. That one's a really good one. For me personally, my own Chaos Confession, Batman Zoom. I bought an options call today. Extremely out of the money. Way out of the money. Bought DR Horton for February. And I think the home builders are actually going to make a move. So I'm actually going to make a legit position on DR Horton, but I wanted to just kind of take a YOLO trade on this. My strike price is $125. Right now, DR Horton's trading at $88.49. And but the expiration is not until February. So interesting. The calls were only like, I don't know. Let's see here. There were 17 cents right now. So I got 50 of them. Only accounts for $800. So at the end of the day, relative to my account size, it's not really that big of a deal. It's $800. No, so if it goes south on me, whatever, I got time on my side. But anyways, I took something that was way out of the money, which Don Fran of the Don Fran Show is probably gonna give me a lecture about. So here I am begging for forgiveness on DR.
He said you're dead to me.
Hey, if it goes off, I'll be one real big happy camper.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. Housing is definitely an interesting industry to look into moving forward, because it seems like there's some more optimism growing around it, and especially the home builders should benefit as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's the first thing I thought, man, incredibly out of the money. Good luck.
It's all the way to February. So
whatever you need to convince yourself to make yourself feel better, it's all the way to February.
I could either gamble or I could YOLO some calls. It's pretty much what I was,
Gamble on what? Like gamble in life? Like play blackjack?
Or take a gamble on some calls.
Or you can just get at the money.
Yeah, but I
didn't want to spend that much money.
Didn't want to spend that. It's a shit ton of money for DR Horton all the way out to February.
Uh-huh.
We're talking like 5 figures.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, it's pretty spency.
5 figures?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
For at the money all the way out like that, yeah, it's pretty spency.
Man. I'm just continuing steady Eddie, building up my little wheel strategy cushion. Penn. I've now got 5 shares of cushion. It's so like, I know it's like dividend stocks. Like, it's going to pay off.
Yeah.
But damn, it's so like I don't even want to say frustrating because it's not frustrating, but it's just very challenging, like to just chip away like that. Because I know, I mean, you think about it, this time next year, I should have 50 to 75 shares minimum of Penn.
Yeah.
Which would just be free shares off the wheel strategy.
Right.
But when it's 5, you're like, oh my God, come on. Like waiting week by week.
So do you have any confessions to make? Did you do anything crazy over the weekend that you need to confess? You need to confess your sins, Fat Man.
Don said you get what you pay for it. Do I have anything to confess?
Did you eat something you weren't supposed to eat?
Do you know something I don't know?
No.
I almost did, bro.
No, I'm just asking.
Bro, I was so tempted to get pizza. So I have Brazil in December and I'm like trying to tighten it up.
Right.
For Brazil.
Yeah.
It's like pregnancy cravings. You ever have these like cravings that are so strong, you're blinded by it?
Yes.
I was searching every pizza place. I'm like, what do I want? And I don't know how I overcame it, but I did. I would just want to say that is not a negative confession, but it's a confession because I'm fucking proud of myself.
You should be.
Normally, I would not have been able to overcome one of those.
Chocolate's my thing.
But chocolate can be good for you.
It can be, but not for me. I'm like a PMSing 14-year-old girl.
Like the quantity of.
Give me all of the chocolate. Yes. I could house a whole bag of chocolate. Like, those little.
What's your go-to chocolate?
Reese's peanut butter cups.
Oh yeah, those are the best.
Oh man,
good call on that.
And like the eggs, like in Easter time.
Oh yeah, Christmas trees.
Oh my God, yeah, forget about it,
bro. Butterfingers growing up were my jam, and then as I matured, Reese's peanut butter cups. Did you ever eat the Reese's peanut butter puff cereal?
Yeah,
those are like a great little dessert treat.
Oh yeah,
I love those.
All right. Getting to some of the other viewers here, we got housekeeping. Says Chaos Confession. I dropped $8,000 on HNST, no DD or anything. As soon as I found out the founder is Jessica Alba doing commercials for it, I pulled the fuck out and then it crashed. Well, at least you pulled out at the right time. I mean, how many times can we say that?
Pause. Jeff Panika, I confess I still hold positions in lots, and so does Belay.
Oh man, lots has been tough, man. First of all, let's take a look at HNST real quick because housekeeping, you did yourself a favor, bro. Appreciate the confession. You've been forgiven, but man, look at this. That's rough. That's pretty rough. Lots, listen, it's okay. You can still be in lots. Lots was a chaos.
It was our community buy.
The only community buy that failed.
Yeah. Which is also the only one you actually stuck in.
Yeah.
So maybe there's something there.
I think there is something there, to be honest with you. But yeah, it came down to 352. Thing just keeps on bleeding down. Really rough stuff for lots.
Yeah. I mean, if you just can set it and forget it, I do think lots is going to be all right. But I'm not sure what's going to happen anytime soon that could get this thing moving.
Yeah, I don't know either.
What if? Sorry, I don't want to take away from Chaos Confession, but
what's up?
What if Facebook added a search engine? But doesn't it have a search engine? Like, isn't?
I mean, I guess kind of, but like you can't just.
How's it different?
You can't like search. How do I fix my faucet on Facebook? Can you?
I think you can. I mean, I think it just takes keywords out. If it had more powerful search engine, for sure. Facebook is definitely the likely, like if you want to talk about competition for Google, they have the attention and they're definitely the likely competitor. And we love Facebook as well.
Yeah. I have one confession on Twitter. Matthew Kamadari. We know Matt. It's Pretzel Jeff's buddy. Matthew Kamadari. We've met him before. He's one of his buddies.
Yeah.
So he actually responded to me on Twitter. Shout out, Matt. Says, bought a full position of Penn at the pandemic lows and then sold it later that summer at $35 a share. Still haunts me today. But bro, that's still like 1,000. I mean, if you bought it at pandemic lows, that's 1,000% move. You can't be pissed at that. But it does suck that you got rid of all of it. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you gonna do?
Google isn't even tenth of the miles driven compared to Tesla on the road. Doesn't matter. They're actually driving people autonomously. So in 2 states.
Yeah.
So in that, regardless of miles driven, that's in that end, they're ahead of the robo-taxi, which is not a bad thing. Tesla's also focused on other things, mainly delivering a Cybertruck, continuing to fulfill ridiculous demand. So that's not a bad thing. Robo-taxis will happen, but I'm not sure. Do you even know the timeline for the robo-taxi?
So they had one and then they continued to push it back in typical Tesla fashion.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be, I think, 22, I thought.
That sounds right. Last year they had said like 2 years.
Yeah.
No way that happens.
No.
I'm seeing if there's any other confessions.
Yeah, I was sifting through. This is going to be slow. I think it's going to start off slow, but I think it's definitely going to pick up the more that we do it. So every Monday, guys, keep them in your back pocket. Make sure you share them within the chat, or you can follow me at Twitter at Own the Chaos. I also put it out over on Instagram as well. So at Own the Chaos on both of those platforms. If you guys have confessions, make sure you're hashtagging it Chaos Confessions, and we'll go ahead and find that at every Monday after the weekend. And again, doesn't have to be stock market related. If you did something crazy, did some hung out with some hookers and did some blow, whatever. Share it to the Chaos Crew Confessions, and it might just show up on our live stream.
Don Fran confesses, I sold my Tesla investment shares at 662 to get in cheaper. Couldn't handle it one day, even for one day, and bought back at 661. We've all been there.
Yeah.
We've all been there. It was like, I'm not even waiting. Let's go. I mean, honestly, that's part of my problem with the wheel strategy and why I buy leaps for the poor man's wheel strategy is because the first part of leaps is selling puts. So you may not get into it. So the stock could go up. So he's like, if you're trying to get into a stock and it goes up, yeah, you collect up a little bit of premium, but like you're looking at like, damn, that, you could miss the move.
Right.
I think we're all in that boat.
This one sucks. FX Retracer said once had 300K Doge that would have been worth $70,000 6 months later. That sucks.
Yeah, it does suck. But would you have sold at 70K?
That's the thing, right? Because I mean, there was a lot of people playing out the scenario with Shiba.
Yeah.
Shiba coin. Yeah. Like, if you had held it from 2020 to now, it'd be worth like $13 million. Okay. Yeah. If you held it for that long. I mean, if you're up $5 million, you're telling me you're not going to sell a dime and you're going to hang around for 10. No, not a shot in hell. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
So anyways, I mean, you can play those scenarios in your head. Those are going to fuck with you the most.
I know. And I mean, how many times have you actually sold at the top? It's just, if you're one that's going to hold that long, you're also probably the same one that's going to end up riding it out.
Yeah.
Down.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen that. People in our own crew up $50,000, $60,000, didn't sell a dime, ended up holding out, and then it crashes one day and they sell for a loss. That's the worst. I'd much rather sell too early, selling a profit, than watching it ride all the way up and then end up having sell for loss. Like, that's the worst feeling.
Yeah, that is a horrible feeling. Savvy bought Bitcoin at 6K, sold at 20K because it was at previous all-time highs. I mean, I know I know those are tough situations, but the reality is, like, it's not about hitting the winner. It's about being able to replicate hitting that. So right. I'd rather be good at, you talk about 20,000. Obviously you could ride free shares. So maybe the argument is you should have left some out to run.
Right.
But you're talking about 200, 250% gains, whatever. I'd rather get good at getting consistent 250% gains than finding 1,000, 2,000, 3,000% gains.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you get it because that's just luck. But if you can replicate and like be smart to get out, then, that's a sustainable model that you could do for a very long time. And as your capital grows, that ends up in turn being more money that you can end up making from a percentage basis.
It's a natural way to think. I mean, I don't do like, I like to fish a lot.
Yeah.
I will fish all day long to catch the 5 to 10 pound bass versus catching a bunch of little ones all day long.
Yeah.
I'd rather catch that one big giant one. It's just that feeling that all the dopamine hits that you get at once with that big ass fish. And same thing, but in the real world, especially in the world of trading, the base hits are definitely what you want to go after for sure. And that's really ultimately how you win.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about managing the emotions and being able to deal with that. It's, you know, the mindset is just such an interesting thing, because what also happens when we see success is we start attributing success to ourselves, and then we get a little bit of like a I don't want to say like a cocky view, but basically, as we see more success, our natural indication, or sorry, our natural disposition is to like just think like, oh man, our shit don't stink. How many times does that happen? Like, you have a couple wins and then you start getting cocky, you get a little loose, and you're like, oh man, I got it figured out. And the opposite works too. You have a bad loss and you're afraid to pull the trigger. To be able to manage those expectations or manage those emotions is like one of the hardest things, positive or negative, because you could get your ass handed to you and you did everything right. You get your ass handed to you. And then the next time it happens, all you're thinking about is the last time you got your ass handed to you. Right. Yeah. And so being able to separate ourselves, our motion of ourselves from our trades is really probably one of the most challenging things.
Absolutely. Because I'm 12 years old. Claudia says that giant one is amazing. Pause. And I see you. C-Buck says, come on down to Sanibel. I might take you up on that, bro. My next trip to Florida, I'll come down that area.
I'm actually, I'm going to be in Sanibel Island for a wedding in
Of course you are. Of course you are.
Yeah, in a month. C-Buck, I'm going to be in Sanibel Island for a wedding.
Take him fishing. Batman Zoom. You haven't caught any fish yet, have you?
Never caught a fish.
Never caught a fish
in my life. Like, without help. I've had somebody hook a fish and hand me a pole. That doesn't count.
Yeah.
Never in my life, and I've been fishing probably 5 times.
And if he gets you on some tarpon, bro, tarpon are huge, 100-pound fish.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, easy. Giant, like they're as long as you are tall.
25 years, damn. I mean, I've heard Sanibel Island's incredible. I don't know.
I have too, yeah.
But no, I'm really excited for it. Real close friend of mine's wedding, so old B-more guy, so it should be fun.
Nice, that's awesome.
I'll be hooked, guaranteed. Bro, I just want to catch one fish. I don't even need to catch 100. I can catch a minnow. I don't really give a shit what I catch. I just need to finally just break the drought.
Take him up on it.
It's time.
DM him at Fatman Zoom on Twitter.
Yeah. Or Discord. If you're in Discord, hit me up on Discord.
Yep.
All right, real quick. What do we have tomorrow? Because I believe we have some pre-market earnings. Obviously after hours. So pre-market, we have Johnson & Johnson, Halliburton. And then after hours, which again, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, we'll give our earnings reaction after hours. Netflix, United, Intuitive Surgical. We'll go for those. But predictions on Johnson & Johnson, Halliburton.
I think Johnson & Johnson just comes in. It's typical run-of-the-mill Johnson & Johnson. No big deal there. They'll beat earnings, no problem. I would be shocked, though. I think the real big shocker will be if they do a share buyback, which we've seen from a lot of the value stocks. Have yet to have seen that from Johnson & Johnson when they're one of the best balance sheets in America. So they could be poised to do something like that and shock a lot of people. That would be the big kicker, I think, in my opinion. Halliburton, I think, is going to do really well, too. Another one that could potentially do a share buyback or dividend, whatever. So I think that could be another big one. I'm really pumped about Netflix, and I can't wait to see those earnings come in. But we will be talking about that tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you guys are hitting that notification bell, all that good stuff, because we will be here for it.
Yep, I'm watching another episode of Squid Game tonight. Slowly getting through that.
Nice.
So, Netflix for sure. It's going to be hype. We'll see you guys there. That's all I got.
I finished watching Last Chance U over the weekend.
Which one did you watch? Which season?
The last one. I watched them all.
The basketball one?
No. Was it a basketball one?
There's a basketball one.
Oh, no. The last football one in Oakland.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to remember.
It wasn't as interesting as some of the other ones, but
because there was two Kansas, right? I thought Kansas was the last one. That weird white dude.
Yeah. So he was on like Pat McAfee show now.
Is he?
The big fat guy that was just
Yeah, smokes cigars.
Oh yeah. He
makes his own favorite. He's his own biggest fan.
Yeah, he's got like a podcast now and everything.
Crazy. He's whack.
Yeah. Dude's wild.
It was like 2 seasons of Texas, 2 seasons of Kansas, and Oakland. I don't know if I've ever seen the Oakland one.
The Oakland's cool. It's just not as like I guess crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that's wild. It's wild.
I always ruin it for myself because I see all these kids and then I just search them all to see where they're at, and then kind of ruins the rest of the season for me. But that's what I do.
Check out the basketball one. I thought the basketball one was good.
Yeah, I'll look at it.
There's only been 1 season of that, I believe.
Okay.
But those guys are like, I don't want to spoil it for you, but check out the basketball one.
That's going to do it for us, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. We'll see you tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time, and hit that like button on your way out while you're at it.
Shout out Daniel Camarena. Bye.
From the FedEx warehouse. Bye.